Hey, this is Dane, aka Sherpa from featherprop.com, and today I want to talk about Sasquatch Fuel meals. Here in Somerset County, it's fall. We had our first official snowfall last night. I woke up to snow all over the ground. That was kind of cool. So in my opinion, the real hiking season, the real outdoor season is finally kicked off. And when it gets out there, especially in the cool temperatures, you need some fuel to keep you going. And so it's a good time to talk about Sasquatch Fuels. Now let me first say that I do a lot of my own meals. I have a dehydrator, so I make and take my own meals out. I like to experiment with my own recipes. But I do like having some dehydrated meals in with my gear, that if I decided last minute to take an overnight trip and I don't have meals prepared, I can grab these because they have a tremendous shelf life. So it's good to have some meals hanging around. I used to always have Mountain House meals and things like that, but I had some problems with those. One, Mountain House meals I thought were kind of heavy. Two, Mountain House meals, a lot of them were servings of two. They were for two people. And I always had leftover food. I was paying for more food than I was eating, and I just didn't care for that much. They were good. I have no problem with that, but I just thought there was excess. First time I ever picked up a Sasquatch Fuel meals, I was surprised with how light they are. These packages weigh about 5.5 to 6.5 ounces each. For a single serving. So I was really impressed with the weight of these. Now, I got turned on to Sasquatch Fuels here in the spring during my yo-yo hike. You can see my video, Best Under Load, when I hiked the LHT. And Brian from HBF Outdoors, who had hiked with me, had reached out to Andrew from Sasquatch Fuels to see if they would sponsor that hike. They generously did. They sent us some meals, and that's the first time I tasted them. I really liked them. I was impressed with how much they weighed. I was impressed with the taste. Another thing I was impressed with was these biodegradable packages. Now, these packages you can cook in. I'll talk about that in a minute. You can cook in them, but if by chance, and they're not encouraging you to litter, don't get me wrong, where you pack this stuff in, pack it back out. But if these invariably, and they will at some point, end up in the woods, these packages will break down, and so that makes me feel better about these packages themselves, that they are biodegradable. And if you do pack them out, you throw them in the garbage can and they end up in some landfill, they'll still break down. So they're not leaving that environmental footprint like some of the other packages are. And so that's really cool. So when I got back from my LHX hike, or my yo-yo hike, I started finding out a little bit more about Sasquatch Fuels and just became more excited about them. It's a small company, and I do like cottage industry companies. I like the small guy, and I will buy stuff off the small guy. If it's quality stuff, I will buy it 10 times out of 10 over the big companies. Sasquatch Fuels, it was started by Andrew and his father. They're two outdoorsmen, backpackers, and they decided to take their own recipes, their own meals, and sell them. And so I was just really excited about that. I like supporting the small guy. Now, it's made in Bozeman, Montana. I have a soft spot for Montana. I hiked there with Brian last year. Loved Montana, want to go back, and so just the fact that it's from Montana kind of thrills me even more. And maybe one of the biggest things also is you're eating with Sasquatch. I mean, seriously, how good is that? Who doesn't want to have a meal with Sasquatch? I know some people complain about the amount of sodium in these prepackaged dehydrated meals, and yeah, there's more sodium in those than maybe some menus that you take out on your own, and I understand that, but I'm not eating these things to live off every day. I mean, I'll go out for a couple of nights in a row, and I'll eat some of these meals, and I know I'm getting a little extra sodium, but also putting out a lot of extra calories. In the summer, I'm sweating it out, and it doesn't bother me to have these meals a few times a year. And I do like having these meals in my gear. I like having them on hand. So like a couple of nights ago, I decided sort of the spur of the moment to get out there with just to do a quick overnight. And I grabbed this spaghetti and meat sauce, took it out. I will say that spaghetti and meat sauce of all these four meals was probably the spiciest. It did have a bit of a bite to it. My stomach is now over 50 years old, and it doesn't handle spice like it used to, but I had no problems with it. But I will tell you that if you can't handle spicy food, you might want to try one of these before you get out there, just to make sure that's not a problem. And I would imagine that Andrew and Sasquatch Fuels probably in the future might produce some meals for us older folks who can't handle some of that spice. But these other meals, there's a Southwest mac and cheese, a little bit of spice, but I didn't think it was that much. vegan rice and beans. I didn't think that was spicy at all. That went down very well. And also beef stroganoff. I didn't find that to be hot at all. Just the spaghetti and meat sauce with had a little bit of an edge. If you like that stuff, go for it. But again, if it's a problem for you, you might want to test it out before you take it out in the woods. So I went out with the spaghetti meat sauce the other night, and you just tear open the top. You can cook in these. They're biodegradable packages, but you can still cook in them. And for me, that's really good because I do freezer bag of cooking. I don't like to do dishes when I'm out in the woods. So you just tear open the top, pour in 2 cups of boiling, well, take out the Stay Fresh pouch, take out the seasoning if there's one in there, pour in 2 cups of boiling water, add your seasoning mix back into it, and then just seal it back up. And I think it recommends about 9 or 10 minutes to let it sit. I usually go a little bit longer. I want to make sure the pasta is cooked through. I think I waited about 12 minutes on the spaghetti and meat sauce, and it was perfect. It was cooked completely through. You know, stir it up first a little bit, swoosh the bag around while it cooks, and when it was perfect. It came through just perfect. I have a long titanium spoon, but I still decided to tear off the top or cut through the top of the pouch to bring it down a little bit. Then I just ate right out of the pouch. I mean, some people don't like doing that. Some people like to pour your food into a pouch or into a pot. That's fine. I'll eat it right out of the pouch and then just burn it, because you can burn these pouches when you're done, which is sort of another bonus with them, with these type of pouches. Now, another thing I'm really kind of excited about is Sasquatch Fuels is donating some of the proceeds from the sales of these fuels to Gear Forward. I'm going to put a code down below in the description. I don't know how long it will be extended, so jump on it quickly. If you make an order using that code that I have listed below, they will take a percentage of the proceeds and donate it to gearforward.org, which is an organization dedicated to getting used backpacking equipment in the hands of the next generation of hikers. So it's a great cause, and I really appreciate the fact that Sasquatch Fuels is stepping up to try to help that out. So highly recommend these guys. Highly recommend you check out the website. I'll put a link to that below. Use the coupon to order some, and tell me what you think. If you like them, let me know, because I'd be interested to know what your response are. But check out Sasquatch Fuels, check out these guys, and hope to see you out in the woods.